Well, hello everyone. I don't see anyone popping in just yet, but they will. I want
Mhm.
to, my name is Faye Garza. This is my show, Faye's Angels, and I am very excited and honored that our guest tonight, this afternoon and morning for you, Stephen, is Stephen Chang, who is an author, and he's more than, I mean, he does more than that. But today, we will be speaking and talking about his book, The Afterlife: A Journey to, and which is just a fantastic book. And um, I'm just going to say, Stephen, thank you for joining me. I am so happy you're here, and I am curious about Australia. I've never been there. So you're having what kind of weather are you having right now? And
Oh,
where?
well. First of all, thank you for having me on your wonderful program. I've got to tell you, where we're situated is up on the it's far north Queensland, so the top northeast corner. If you can
Mhm.
picture the pointy bit
Okay.
on the map of Australia, our weather has been absolutely atrocious.
Really?
We've
In
had
what way?
we've had two cyclones in about 2 months.
Wow.
The one we had, which is totally unusual. I mean, it is cyclone territory, but
Right?
once
I don't
every
know. Okay.
3 or 4 years. This we had one before Christmas. In 5 days, we had just on 2 meters of rain. So what's that? 6.5 foot of
Okay.
rain in
Wow.
5 days, and lots
Wow,
of
that's
wind,
crazy.
trees down. That's crazy. So
Yeah.
for a good number of weeks, we've been cleaning up. We had landslides around the region, roads broken, and all sorts of things. So it's been quite traumatic. Although now, thank the gods, we're back to normalities, and
That's
it's
good.
very pleasant.
That's good. So that with the temperature, now you're not experiencing winter, right? Am I correct? Or you are,
Yeah,
what are you experiencing?
we do wet or dry. Um, well, the temperature now it's around 30 Celsius, so that's about 83 or 84 Fahrenheit, and minimum's probably 20, so that's about 70ish.
Okay.
So it's getting to the pleasant. But as we get into June or July, the temperature, the higher temperatures moderate down into the uh, you know 80s, early 80s, and it's not cold. Put it that way. It's
And
very pleasant.
it's never cold for you, you're saying.
Uh, mm, for us uninitiated to cold weather, if it gets down to about 40 or 45, that we've got jumpers and fires on.
And you say you were next to a rainforest, you're saying,
Yes,
too,
we're
right?
right amidst a rainforest. We live on acreage here, and we're just surrounded by tropical rainforest.
That's so
So
cool.
we get the odd critter
Yeah, the odd
in
critter.
exploration around in the rafters or around. Yeah, lots of kangaroos and wallabies
Oh,
and
oh,
things.
cool.
The
Wow.
odd snake gets in the rafters, but they do no harm.
They do no harm?
No,
Okay.
no.
So I have to admit, I'm not a fan of snakes, but that's good.
Well, us neither.
So where we are is we're in the fair state of Wisconsin in the United States, and that's the upper Midwest. It's north, and it's supposed to get usually pretty cold here,
Mm,
and which means, and I can only speak in Fahrenheit terms, it can be below zero easily around this
ouch.
time, like
Mm,
or 10 degrees above, or lots of snow. Last year, it was the winter that never ended, and so this year we're not experiencing a lot of snowfall. It's just a kind of weird. It's a weird winter, you know. So anyway, there's that one.
Yeah. Well,
So
same here, Faye. I mean, you used to be able to set your watch to the weather patterns years ago, but now it's very weird. God knows what you're going to get.
we're gonna get. I know. We just kind of live live day by day. I don't know where that came from. Anyway, well, we have Herbie Lopez here already. Thank you, Herbie, for joining our show. Our show. Uh, so he's already liked and shared the show. Um, Herbie meet Stephen Chong, author of The Afterlife, A Journey to, and now you know what will happen as well. I didn't know how to punctuate all of that. That was my only problem. That's okay. That's me. That's my legal assistant background. All about punctuation. But anyway,
Mm.
I can hear you really pretty well now. It seems like we have a better quality. That's awesome on this
Yeah,
end.
it's fading in and out a little bit for me, but I've still got you reasonably clearly, so we're okay.
I don't want you to struggle to hear me. Are you okay?
That's better now. I don't know what happened there for a moment. I was just struggling a little, but I'm fine now.
Okay, and you too as well. So, again, this is Stephen Chung, author, and also you are also a speaker. You have, do you still do a lot of speaking around and for companies or, personal development? Or
Uh,
is that in the past, or are you now
that that's all.
basically?
That's pretty much in the past now. Faye. I've got snow on the roof and 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 those that
Oh,
professional side is kind of I'm retired from
so you
now.
retired, and I'm supposed to be retired as well. So when we,
And
so
the universe says no.
I
Sorry.
know. So, and actually this program that I'm doing, Phase Angels, I wasn't expecting to have a show of my own. I was just helping my husband produce his shows, but some of the topics that people talk about, what comes up in some of the reads that we have that Roger has in his readings, but basically on the show, he can only really do quick reads, and
Mm,
so some of the stuff that comes through can be a little more, y- you know, uh, personally development kind of things.
mm,
And I always want to have, always wanted to have more time to kind of delve into that with people who are inspired, such as yourself. I can't wait to talk about that a lot. And so that's the purpose of my show. I want to bring to people um, some information
mm,
and other things to consider. And so we're going to talk about your wonderful book, which I want to show
mm.
to everybody. This is the beautiful book that we're talking about. This is Stephen Chung and the author, and it is about. I'm going to let you start to tell people how this came to you, which is just phenomenal, by the way.
Oh, Faye. As we mentioned off air, I about 4 years ago now, I'd retired from, shut down from the writing process. I said, I'm done, finished. Leave me alone. It is time to start planting flowers in the garden.
Mhm.
Um, but as you do when you get into your 60s, you climb up on ladders and clean out the eaves.
Right.
Um, uh,
Which is what you didn't do that for at your career, I'm sure,
oh
right?
no, 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 no! Although I was used to it, because we've
Oh,
been here 30 years, and it
okay.
was just part of our process. Because
All right.
we're not on mains water. We feed off we have rainwater tanks.
Okay.
And this particular morning, I was up doing my thing, nearly finished, and the ladder slipped. So I'm, you know, 15 foot, I've fallen and hit the ground. The ladder's gone through all these louver windows that we have, so there's glass everywhere.
Wow.
And I've hit the ground. And at the time, I couldn't feel below my neck. And I thought, uh-oh,
Uh-oh.
Stephen, you are in a deal of trouble. Uh,
To say the
and
least.
to say the least. And, we're very remote here. No near neighbours, surrounded by rainforest. And luckily, on the morning, unusually, my wife was here. And she was able to come to rescue and call the ambulance. And so here we stand. And all is well, I rehabilitated. But the genesis of what you have kindly read in the book occurred not at that time, rather in the process of rehabilitation.
Mhm.
So I'm on a couch, good for nothing, for months. I could barely move. I could barely tie my shoelaces.
Yeah.
Um,
You did
uh,
get your feeling back, though, I'm
oh yes,
hoping.
I'm all again
But, I
praise
mean,
to the
during
gods.
that time, did that come back relatively soon, or
Very
did it
slowly,
oh,
very
wow.
very slowly.
Okay.
And so I could barely walk, then I could barely get out the door. Then I just kept up, exercises of incrementation that,
Yeah.
got me back into shape.
Okay.
Um, but in the time I was on the couch, I had the title going through my head, uh, and I said to the universe, because I knew what it was. I said, "Leave me alone. I'm done. I'm not writing anymore. Go away." uh, but eventually, it was so compelling. I said, "Okay, I'm in. I will write this thing. But the afterlife, what do I know? I know nothing. Nothing."
I
Uh,
just
uh,
wanted
uh,
to interrupt you. This is the book we're talking about, folks. If you're just coming in, I want you to buy it. It's on Amazon. Go ahead.
uh, and Faye, I got to tell you, as soon as I opted in, I've made the choice. I I sat in front of the PC, and I had nothing, no storyboard, no character, no nothing. And as soon as I sat there, it was just like a stream of blessing of consciousness. It was all there. It just come through, and I just took dictation. Basically, I heard the music and saw the colours of the surrounds, and I heard the dialogue of the characters, and so I just wrote. And I would,
And how long did that take you? Not very long.
4 weeks.
And that's
For
crazy.
Yeah,
That's crazy. People, I mean, I think Stephen King is pretty fast at writing, but I mean, that's and I don't know
yeah.
where his inspiration is other than his wonderful creativity, but
Mm.
yeah, I mean, so did your other books come that easily? I mean, or
No, no,
no,
they were a different gestation altogether.
sure.
This was just a stream of consciousness. Let's call it that.
And as we were talking backstage, the thing that struck me when I was starting to read the book was and I haven't read your other books, and I asked you this. I said, what was compelling to me was the style of your writing, that it was so kind, it was so sweet, it was so, I mean, I don't mean to make you, I'm not trying to
No,
make you feel weird or anything, but it
yeah,
was
no,
just so, it was like you wanted it to be. It was like it was help all the love was coming through, I feel. If I think I felt the love of, yeah, heaven, in that
yes.
writing. The other thing that I loved was the little the poem, and near the
Oh,
beginning of
Faye.
so where did that come from?
Oh,
Was that
therein lies. That's a great question. I'd finished the the writing of the book, and again, it was just I've never written poetry. Never, never. I wouldn't know a poem from a prose,
yeah,
and it was just there. I just had to. I knew I had to write this little poetic introduction, and I thought, okay, all right. Those I don't know how many. There's probably 15 or 16
yeah,
poems there. They were written probably in a couple of days. It's same
Really?
thing. Oh yes, I just sat and sequential because that's how I think.
Right, and so
I,
that was the if with each chapter
yeah,
came the poem.
hmm yep,
I mean,
and
there's
that's how
no
it come out. Yeah,
and you know what was cool is that I would read the poem. I mean, chapter 1, I mean, I didn't know I had no expectations when I started reading the book. Uh, I just opened it up to chapter 1 and I said, "Oh, look at this." And I read the poem, which really kind of just piqued my interest, but really didn't. It just kind of was a little window, a little portal into what was happening, going to happen,
mm,
right?
yeah.
And then I had to read it again after I read the chapter because I said, "Oh, wow. That's what that, it was like,
Isn't that
okay,
interesting?
you know, that was
Very
that
interesting.
that was what my experience was with
Mm.
reading your book is that I had to go back to the poem because it's really, it does nothing. They really the poetry isn't like a rhyming poetry. It's really just a how can I don't know what it's called. Do you know? I'm not a
Uh,
English
uh,
major,
uh,
so maybe my daughter can help me with this, but she hasn't read your book yet. So,
I guess I'm no expert in such field either, Faye, but I guess you'd call it prose. I really don't
oh,
know. It's just how it come out again, and it's hard to describe, but it was like tuning in. I said, okay, I've got to write this poem, and it was just there. I didn't have. It's not a wasn't a thinking process. It was a listening process. So I just tuned in, and got it. Okay,
it was
now that
it was
stream.
really truly a letting go.
Yeah,
You just really let go and let it happen, didn't you?
yeah. Trusting that
Trusting.
the words would be there was an integral part of the process. I never doubted. Each time I sat, I never knew where the next part was going. I never knew where the character was taking me. Had no idea, but I trusted implicitly that it would be there, and so it proved. There was never a time that I where I sat and I was looking at a blank piece of paper. It just didn't happen. It was just always there, and it was. I reviewed it again in edit, and I picked up some my lousy grammar and spelling, but there was very little of it. It was just like
Oh,
it was just a gift.
trust me, I found no mistakes, and because of what I used to do, the mistakes would come out. I find mistakes in a lot of books. I found none in this one. I
Oh,
mean
very
that
good.
punctuation or anything like that.
I've written what 6 books, and I still don't know where a comma goes.
Well, maybe next time you write a book, you might want to send it to me, and I'll help you with punctuation. I don't know.
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm sure you can handle it all yourself. So, um, I'm getting into the book a little bit. I don't want to give it away, but I think it was awesome how it was a little tricky, actually. Tricky that the main character wasn't the first person you were talking about. The right?
Isn't that interesting?
Right?
Hmm.
Wasn't that interesting?
Yes, it was. I
And
got that first chapter.
right.
I saw very clearly. It was the bishop, as we called him then. I saw that scene so clearly in my mind, and I don't want to give too much away. And how
No.
the angel of death, shall we call him,
Yes.
come to visit this bishop and take him to the to
Kinda
into the
scary.
purgatory realms.
Kinda scary.
A little
It
bit.
felt a little hellish to me, can I say that? It felt a little
Yes,
the entity
yes.
felt hellish and a little threatening or
Mhm.
scary, shall I say. And
Yeah. Absolutely
no
writing. I thought,
judgment on that.
oh my goodness. But that's what I saw. I just wrote what I saw.
Yeah, no judgment, just you
No.
were just typing.
Mm,
Um, brilliant, it was so brilliant. I mean, that's the other thing while I was reading the book. Was that I knew because I read I watched you on another podcast and I thought, gosh, this is something I have to see because I heard that you had done it by inspiration, by channeling, I don't know what we can call it,
mm.
the experience of going to the afterlife after death. And uh, where was I going with this? I don't know.
Uh, I've got to tell you, Faye, and your listeners, I still am somewhat bemused about, because people have traditional NDEs, and
Yes.
they're obviously wonderful and very profound experiences.
Yes.
This was different, but I
Yes.
can't deny the gifts that were given.
No.
It's how it was given to
Yes.
me, and I see it as a great gift from the heavenly realms.
Right.
I
Well,
could
and
not
I
have even dreamed up the
if that was the experience, that's the experience. I mean,
yeah.
I have that the afterlife near-death experience is very interesting to me because my husband, a psychic medium, is because he had a near-death experience is the very reason he is a psychic medium today. It really changed him completely
Mm.
as a person and with a gift that he is able to do what he does, and what he does is kind of, and what he sees is quite. I, I live with it every single day, and I'm still surprised by what comes through, and
Isn't that interesting, Faye? Yeah, what I've ascertained subsequent to the accident is these
yeah,
near death experiences do two profound things. One, they redirect you to purpose. So
uh-huh,
in my case, I'd shut down. I said, "I'm done. I'm
yes,
retiring." Blah blah blah. The universe says, Stephen, there is another way, a higher purpose for you. You choose. So I could have chosen to say no to all of this and still be out there planting tomatoes.
hmm
Uh-uh. So, but so that accident has redirected me to purpose. Thankfully, thank the gods.
hmm
The second thing that the NDE does is it imbues you with what I would call a superpower. It gives you talents that you never knew you had. I never knew I could write a book such or channel, if you will, such a gift. I did
hmm
no idea. So it gives you, well, I guess in your husband's good case,
hmm hmm
these gifts open up like the flowering. They were latent. You didn't know. I didn't know about them, but here
hmm
they are, and that's the two main things I've ascertained about these NDE experiences.
So you can say that since your experience and then the writing of the book and then going back and reading it yourself, you can say I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I would think I won't. I'm going to ask you. This is has this changed you a little bit? Have you has it impacted you as well,
Mm.
a little profoundly? Can I
Oh,
say ask that?
uh, 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 amazing, Faye. Let me give you a very personal experience the same. Um, it's almost 12 months to the day uh, that I lost my beautiful mother.
I'm
Now she
sorry.
was in her 80s, and it was a surprise to us all.
Mhm.
And ever since I was a young lad, because she was such a beautiful being, such an angelic soul, I always thought, like, Mum, when you go, I'm out of here. I'm not hanging around. I want to I want to go where you go.
Mm. Oh.
That was all. It was like a part of my DNA. Uh,
Mhm.
and subsequent to the to her passing and the knowledge I've gained from
Yeah.
the writing of the book,
Yeah.
I don't feel that at all. There's grief for her loss, a physical loss,
Right.
but I know exactly where she's gone in the heavenly realms.
Mhm.
I know where to find her
Mhm.
in this place in here,
Mhm.
and uh, like I know she's always there. That love is always there. So the grief one feels is not debilitating. It's
Mhm.
totally empowering. It says, go
Mhm.
forward, write more books, talk to
Mhm.
lovely people on podcasts, do your thing. I will
Mhm.
be here, never absent. So that alone is worth the price of gold for me from a from a from a love point of view, to know that our loving kin that have passed are, are in such a place that there's the loving silver cord, I called it, and I saw
Yes.
silver cord. Yeah, is that love is the attachment, and it's eternal.
Right. I love that silver cord I read about too. I just want to say to a few more people who have joined us is Norma. Hello, Norma. Hello, Carol. Good to see you. I'm glad you joined us today. We have Stephen Chung, author of The Afterlife: A Journey to. Now you know. Now you know what will happen, and it is a compelling book, and um, I am so happy that you're with me today talking about it, and
Thank you,
it
Faye.
is it's a very inspiring book because uh, you know I just some of the things that struck me out of the book is that, and I talked to you about this backstage. I said, all angels are not just all really sweet and lovely.
Hmm.
Some of them are kind of scary, right? They can
Yeah,
be scary. They
the
can be
scary,
scary sometimes.
there was a scary one in there, and there was a
Yeah.
scary place that I got taken to. I don't know if you want to cover that, but there was a
Yeah, well, sure. I want to cover anything that, yes, of course I want to. I want to compel people to be interested to read your book because the journey of reading your book is it is a journey in itself as well. And so yeah, maybe you want to talk about some of the it's interesting. I think people would like to know. I mean, we are as we are raised in our different religions, and I can only speak from my own and my friends, that there is a hell. There's a hell, there's a devil.
mm,
So I didn't see a devil, and I didn't really see a hell. I saw something that was kind of scary,
yes,
so and maybe you want
yes,
to talk a little bit about that if you could.
yes.
um
That's very interesting, Faye. My understanding is there is no hell.
mhm,
There are places that are less salubrious, which we'll talk about,
right,
uh,
okay,
through one's, the actions that one has taken in life. But
yes,
it's all heaven, and this sense of eternity spent in hell, is, as I understand, is far from the truth. The love of heaven is remedial. So we continue to evolve.
in heaven.
In heaven, all heaven. Um, let me give you the example of that was when I was taken. Remember, I'm this main character whose name is Athar. I'm
Yes.
seeing through his eyes. He's showing me and telling me what he's seeing. So we get taken into this desolate area, like a bushfire has gone through,
Right.
and the smell and the ash, and it was horrible. um, and
Right.
we
Could you smell
entered.
that? And you could smell that as well?
Oh
I'm
yes. Oh, I could hear the dialogue. I could smell and hear the music. Faye is. I'm not a musician. I like the Beatles. That's about it. But
so do I.
the music was a part of everything. It was like
At all
music and
time.
color. It
Uh-huh.
was the DNA of everything in the heavenly realm.
Okay.
But we get taken through this desolate area and entered this huge portal.
Uh-huh.
And oh, hello, I'm
Nice.
shining a
Oh,
light
hi.
on my head.
Yeah, look at you.
Uh, I, I so we entered this portal, and I'm with a guide. I'm not on my own. There's this master guide showing me this place,
Right.
and it, in this place there were these huge vortices, power centers, vortices, spinning vortices, and there were these souls trapped within, trying to clamber out. And it was like I'm watching this, and I turn to the guide and go, like, this is horrible. Get me out of here.
Mhm.
And I said, what is this? And
Mhm.
what was explained to me was this is not hell, but these are areas of purification. Souls are entrapped by their own choice.
Their own choice.
Yes. Think of, the seven deadly sins,
Mhm.
greed, gluttony, sloth, avarice, those sins
Mhm.
trap the soul within. So these vortices are where they become purified. And standing around these vortices were these angels in waiting. And again, I said to the God, what is this? And it was told to me that as soon as the soul is able to repent, to, to like to forgive themselves, uh, uh,
Forgive
uh,
themselves is the thing. Forgive
yeah,
yourself.
yes, then they are removed because they've been cleansed. They are removed then from the power of that choice, their own choice, and taken away into the whatever heavenly realms.
The next
But it
realm
was
or
a
whatever.
yeah. But in seeing that and writing that, I I, I thought, God, if that doesn't turn you away from errant
Wanting to
actions, I don't know what will.
yeah.
So that was one of the areas that I was taken to one
R
of the more dolorous, if you will.
right, and, you mean there are many, there are other the main character and then his kind of his friend turning out became they were friends and they were friends in the life on earth and then they became friends. Well, I'm not sure they were really friends. They knew each other and then in the afterlife they became friends.
Hmm.
They each had their own, which was interesting how you wrote it in the book. There was like a parallel experience it
Mm,
turned out to be to me. It was like one person was experiencing this and then the other simultaneously was in their own lesson uh, uh,
yes,
journey. And
intimately entwined they were, and
yeah,
by way of background, one in life, one was an antagonist to the other,
right,
without giving too much away.
right.
Uh, but
Thank
but
you.
that but they were able as you say, forgiveness was the key. So they were able to forgive one another, and
Right.
that enabled the flowering of their respective souls.
It was quite amazing. I loved also the way you did a I'm sure it was difficult. I mean, I don't know, maybe not difficult because you were being dictated to what to say. And Candace has just joined us today. I don't know, Candace, if you, I'm just gonna let you know that I'm visiting with Stephen Chung, author of The Afterlife. He wrote this book, Heavenly Inspired, or actually channeled. I think you were channeling the character, the main character of the book and you wrote this book in what, 4 weeks? Is that what you said? And
Hmm.
you were convalescing from a fall from a ladder that nearly took you out, and,
Yes.
you came back. I mean, you weren't you wanted to retire, but no, you're not going to retire. You
No,
have
no.
to write a book. And,
Hmm.
so Candace, I just gave you a real quick summation. I'm not sure if that's I'm gonna just give the picture of the book again 'cause I love this book, The Afterlife, and you're seeing the author right now. He's from Australia. It is early in the morning for Stephen the next day. You're Wednesday, and you
Yes.
started out
Yes.
talking to me at quarter to 8 in the morning. God
Okay.
bless you.
Uh, I survived the early morning, Faye. It's okay.
Wow. I can't even think by then. I have a lot to do. There's a lot to do before I can get out the door. And we won't go into that either, because. I'm old. There's things that go on. But, back to this experience you had, um, so what I got from the book also, and because I do a lot of this is so interesting to me. I mean, losing my own mother, my sister years ago, my mother, my father. I started reading before I met Roger even, my husband of now. My last and best husband. Um, I was comforted by the fact that many, hospice nurses even experience with their patients their experiences of going to just about going to the other side, going through some tunnel, going to hearing music. seeing their loved ones being welcoming,
Yeah.
um and so I kind of saw that here too. Or sometimes in my life when I was kind of single raising my own children, no one told me any of this stuff, but my father had passed away already, and I needed answers. How am I going to deal with whatever problem I'm facing with one of my kids? How do I advise them? How do I make them understand? I'm so upset right now. I'm saying to myself, I don't know what to do, Dad. Well, so for some reason, uh, I would just get my child in front of me, and the words came.
Hmm.
The right words came,
Hmm.
because my dad had a really wonderful way about him to um, just kind of pick apart something that I may have done or might be thinking about doing that is just really not good for me, or whatever it might be. As I'm
Hmm.
going through my teenage years, I never felt um, shamed or wrong, or not. It was never that. It was always a kind of a respect for your child,
Hmm.
to
Hmm.
to help them get through it and make the right decision. And that's what I wanted to do. And so, I mean, that's just, I wasn't even going to say that, but I did do that. And I knew nothing about all of this, right?
Yes, isn't it interesting? Yeah.
Yeah,
So, that what you talk about there is so profound because to me, and it was very much part of the writing of this book, questions are the great enabler. So what I know now is that we are never separate from the divine. That connection is always there. We can only think we're separate, but
right.
in
But we're
actual
never.
fact, we are not. So questions enable the. So we've got a life dilemma.
Yeah,
So we ask the question, what do I do about that? Oh, when I wrote, when part of the process of writing this book, every time I sat, and I'll leave out the expletive, what the bleep am I going to write about that?
right,
But but that of its own is such a profound question. It's a constructive question. It's saying to the universe, I need your help.
right,
So then for me, the process became one not of thinking, but rather of listening. So
right.
I'd get a cup of tea, la 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 la. Oh, got it. Oh, tap tap
Oh,
tap 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 away.
thank
And it's exactly what you're saying there. Where you're talking to your child, you tune in, say, what? How do I help this child? What do I say? Where do I go?
right,
And then,
right.
oh, then you get that
Then it
spark,
comes
that
out. It just
intuition.
comes
Yeah,
out.
there you
It
go.
just it just comes
And
out.
that's your intuition. That's that link, that love link. And the key to me is to know that it is always there.
Right.
Trust that it will be there. As distinct, there is a downside to the questioning process. So, what I call a destructive question. So, if we will always get an answer to a question. That's the nature of the universe.
Right.
But if we ask a destructive question like a why can't I get this right? Why am I so stupid? Why do I always make mistakes?
Uh-huh.
That's the universe says, why do you? Why are
Mm,
you?
right. Right.
It's very
Right.
literal.
Right.
So by asking a what question or how question, that opens the angels, if you will, the guardians, to say, "Here, Stephen, get this into you."
Mhm.
Bing. That to me is the way it works.
Okay. That's good. That's food for thought. I like that. And I know that we all are, I've learned that we are more intuitive than we give ourselves credit for many
Mm.
times, right? We don't, uh, I think, and if, as long, and yeah, you just trust your intuition.
Hmm.
It really will get you through it, right?
Yes, absolutely. If I've learnt nothing else through this writing process, it is exactly that: to trust, to know that these let's call them guardian angels are
Yeah.
there for us at all times. We can only think that we're separate from them, but it is not the case.
No, I know, and, even when we're not really asking for their guidance, they're still there. That was another thing that was brought out in your book that I found to be wonderful, is that even when we're being complete idiots and doing the wrong things, just going the opposite even when we're not reading our intuition or we're going against we know when we're going against our better selves or whatever that
Correct.
is. We
Yes.
do. And I know they're just going, "Okay, okay," but I think they somehow, even though we don't ask them, the guides, the angels are still helping us be as make the outcome be as good as it possibly can. I still feel that way too.
Yes. Yes. And I think, I'm sure, Faye, that that's exactly correct. And to me, the key is gratitude.
Right.
So we'll be thankful for what we have and who we are, the divine beings. We're none of us are infallible. We've all tripped over size 15 feet, made
Right.
mistakes. I mean, my goodness, if you can't make a mistake, you can't make anything.
Mhm.
But the gratitude, if we are thankful for what we have received, that's part of the law of attraction, and that attracts more abundance. The abundance flows. It's like a stream to me of love that's there, and gratitude enables us to be part of that stream.
Yes. Yes, that's good food for thought, and, I'm just soaking that in as well. So, maybe I touched upon it, maybe I forgot I was asking the question before, but you did a wonderful you were inspired by doing a fantastic job of explaining the colors
Mm.
that were in their beautiful robes. Sometimes they didn't start out so beautiful, maybe, but,
Yes,
kinda talk
yeah.
and so I wonder if some of the colors were like chakra colors, which I'm trying to learn about a little bit too. I don't know.
Yes, I'm certain of that. Yes, the colours, Faye, I think I mentioned before, the colours were like, if you think of the seven colours of the rainbow multiplied by 10. Uh, and I'm not
Wow.
even sure I did a good job in the book. I don't know. It's for others to judge. But these colours were so vivid, and so the
Hmm.
music was all part of it too. But the colours were far more enhanced than what we see
Right.
in our earthly realm. But to go back to your what you were saying there, what I saw were these divine mists,
Okay. Yeah.
and there was a portal, a doorway through these mists, and souls were exiting these mists, and they were dressed in these robes, like head to toe robes, all different shapes and sizes and multiple colours, pinks, blues, gold,
And they shimmered through, and they were like shimmering.
shimmering robes, yeah. But there were some that come through, and the robes were dark, Hessian brown, black, and what I understand is that the colours of the rock. So you've come through purgatory. We've done as part of the process.
Right.
We've had this life review, and what we've done in life is reflected in the robes that we wear and how we move forward in the heavenly realms. The colours of the robes designate the road you will follow
Oh,
in the
yeah.
heavenly realm. So,
Hmm.
to give an example, what I saw was a lady exited the the mists, and she was dressed in brown, dark, really dark, hessiany robes, and she tried valiantly to. She saw. So you get to an area, and there was all these roads streaming from this pivot point,
Right. Right.
and she tried her best to go upwards to a pathway to which she thought she deserved. But she got to a point where she was unable to go further. She
I
come
remember
back,
that. Yep.
tried another one, come back, tried another one.
Yep.
Eventually, she got she got it and had to follow a pathway downwards
Mhm.
to an area that I didn't see. But that's she had. To, she's obviously done some mm, not so salubrious things in her life, and she had to follow the pathway that was uniquely
To
hers.
learn. So, w what I would like to no, well, I wanna know everything about the afterlife and how things go, but it seems to me that not everyone's, journey from death to the afterlife is always the same. I mean, if by your channeling Athar in this book and his and what he saw and what you experienced with him, can it be in that experience at least some of the people who have reached that heavenly realm, they didn't all get greeted by their family. They didn't all uh, go straight to a different. They're all going through whatever experience they had or did, or I mean, does there?
Yes,
I don't even know how to explain it.
yeah, I get where you're coming from. The process, as I saw it and understand it, Faye, is that you go into this. So you do your life review. What you've done flashes before your eyes, and then, pardon me, it's then that determination, judgment, if you will. It is not.
Okay,
It's not God's judgment. It's like
it's
looking in
your
the
own.
mirror of reflection. It's your own saying, "Oh yes, I did some really good things, or I did some really bad things. I was a naughty boy," and one becomes cloaked accordingly.
Hmm.
But the important thing to realise is that the judgment of heaven is not. It's not vindictive or eternal. It's
Right,
probationary and remedial. So
right.
we continue to evolve in the heavenly realms. The the robes that I saw, other souls are able to look at your robes and know exactly what you need in terms of love and service.
Oh, yeah.
So that they not only designate where
There you
one
are.
goes,
Yeah.
but other souls to to our assistance are able to say, "Oh, this soul needs such and such or whatever."
Yeah, I love that there was a guides. The guides were always there. They were never alone. God spoke through the mist sometimes as well. I heard that. I want to pull up what Tanya Cobra is saying here. She says, "What a gorgeous description, Stephen. The description of the colors and music bring to mind sound, color, synesthesia. I don't know. Well,
I think I know what it means, but I can't say
okay.
it either.
Well, would you say that it is this is my daughter, by the way. She's a lot smarter than I am. Would you
Okay.
say that is what you experienced?
Oh yes, that was such an amazing part of the writing journey. That um, let me put it to you this way: right at the end of the book, I got taken up. Again, I say I was through Athar's eyes.
Yeah,
You got with the master. He got taken up to the rear, one of the higher realms. I don't know whether it was the highest. I don't know what's further on, but it
right,
was a really high, like standing on top of a mountaintop,
right,
and shown this. I hate the word matrix, but that's what comes to mind. A matrix of light, a colour, and the light was colour. It's a mix of all these beautiful colours that I saw,
mm.
and the music, Faye, was you know uh,
So
like
was it
they
was it voices? Was it everything? Was it could you say that was voices? Was it harmony?
Oh,
Was it
in a number of cases, I heard the choral voices in unison singing. Yes, and
okay.
how to describe that in words, I don't know.
Mhm. Mhm.
I just
Did
did my best.
were you reduced to tears sometimes when you
Oh
were
yes,
taken?
oh
Okay.
yes. I it was. I would read because it was like being when I was writing. It was like trance. I wouldn't call it a trance, but just in tune. And I would read it back and go, "Oh my God, where did that come from?" And it was it
Oh,
brought
awesome.
up significant emotion. Yeah.
That's so awesome. So it's just a complete experience for you. This is crazy. So, I mean, I am
Hey,
inviting everybody to also, if you have any questions about the afterlife, or I would really encourage you to ask the questions. Also, I really encourage people to pick up this book, and you can pick it up on Amazon. It is a fantastic book. If you're curious about the afterlife, and I just encourage you to read it. So, and there were some lessons learned that you yourself read your book again, and somehow, because you were taking dictation. I can relate because I was a legal assistant. I used to do shorthand. That's how old I am. And then, with the earphones and things, and doing this. So that's kind of what you were doing. You were doing your own. Okay, well, let me get this, down. But where was I going with this?
well, I
You
know where you're
did,
going with it, Faye. It's very interesting because the book had been written, and it
yeah,
was probably and I was in edit mode. I'm picking up errors and stuff, and I'd read it. I don't know 100 times,
okay,
and this is about I don't know 2.5, 3 months after it had been finished, the draft, and again the voices in my head said, "Stephen, you missed something." What?
yes. Well, thanks for
I've read it.
telling me now.
What? I remember distinctly how it worked. So I said, "Oh, okay." So I read it again, and honestly, Faye, it was like reading a book. When you get those highlighter pens,
Yep,
you highlight words.
yep,
I read it again, and that's what I saw, and that's when I found these laws of heaven and earth. They just stood out to me like a beacon, like they'd been highlighted, and I found 15 of them, and honestly, they have made such a profound difference to my own life.
right.
Uh, uh, because they ground you in such a strong sense of belief and knowing how the laws of heaven and earth work. But that's how they come about. They stood out to me like a beacon, so I just wrote them down.
Yeah. So what was also compelling to me was that when we spoke backstage, I was assuming that you were raised as a Catholic, and the characters in this book were of the Catholic religion, and so and you say no, and so I find that and the subject matter is really compelling too, and very you know um, part of what they're facing, and
Mm.
um, it was written so that it was persuasive to me to think that you had been raised as a Catholic, because it seems like you had an insight, but then again, you were being uh, shown what to write. So, I mean, you can't even make this stuff up, really,
No,
can you?
no. I got asked once, Faye, whether I took drugs.
Were you taking drugs at the time?
I wouldn't know what a drug looked like if I tripped over it. Oh my goodness!
Well, I'm glad we cleared
Uh,
that up.
but I got to tell you, Faye, it's really interesting because we're talking before about the NDE,
Yes.
and I wondered why I was gifted this book in such a form, and
Okay.
I'm pretty sure I understand now how it works. Is that because it's in an NDE, as I understand it, one gets taken to a particular area and you view a
Right.
part of heaven that's applicable for you to see. Very profound, absolutely.
Hmm.
But to me, that's very objective. As a reader of somebody else's experience, I'm seeing it from a distance. I'm saying, oh, that's very interesting. Oh, or maybe not. Maybe that's rubbish. I don't, and making a judgment upon. But in this case, the because the book's in story form, we read it subjectively. So we become part of the book in its revelation.
Hmm.
We and the story can take us to depth. I mean, we can read the book literally through eyes of religiosity and go, ooh, that's right or wrong or good or bad. Okay, you could go to a deeper level and read the anecdotes, the fables, the stories, and get something out of that. Sure.
Mhm.
But then others, you and I, can read it and go and look at the metaphysical level where laws, universal laws, are expressed and experienced, like the
Right.
laws of heaven and earth.
Right.
But
And
more,
go ahead.
but underneath that, the deeper level is the mystical level. So we can read the story
Right.
as you've done and
Right.
go, oh, I get it. Oh, that's me. I know. But that's your inner truth being revealed. It's not telling you anything, it's revealing what's already inside you.
Mhm.
That is the key, as I understand it, to the glory of a story like this.
So, I mean, another thing is, of course, the lessons we learned. I mean, the lessons that you saw that you when you reread your book, and that some of the doctrines that we accept and are told as youth or as followers of whatever religion it is, um, sort of are the ones that hold us back or put us in chains or are totally wrong, and they're not given to you with love or maybe you can help me with one of the laws here.
Hmm?
I think one of the things is when one of the characters thought he was so perfect, and he was going into heaven. Well, I assume that I will be in the heavenly realms of God the Father, and that I am so good. And they said, think again. You have work to do,
Yeah, I
right?
know who you mean. Yeah.
Yeah. And I found that to be kind of yeah. I mean, I remember being listening to different even ministers from the pulpit, or in confirmation classes, and thinking, as a young person, how can you say that when God's not supposed to be
Hmm.
God's not God's full of love, isn't he? I mean, I think children know more than the very people that are and I don't mean to make anybody angry or anything with me, but I think sometimes the children already intuitively know that what is being sent to them from the pulpit or whatever is
Hmm.
just complete rubbish, and that they're not getting it. And
Yeah.
and you look at your parents like, are you buying this? Are you
Hmm.
you know
Hmm.
especially when it comes to being judgmental, or just picking out pieces out of the Bible and making that law, and totally forgetting other parts of the Bible that might puts another light on it. So I just kind of had to, as a young child, kind of say, I think there's more to the story than this. And I kept it
Mm.
to myself, and then
Yes.
I became a pagan for a while, and didn't want to have anything to do with it, right?
And therein lies that spark of curiosity that never dies. We were talking about off stage, isn't it?
Right.
That there's more. I know what I'm hearing, but it doesn't
It
fit.
doesn't ring true. It doesn't ring
No,
true.
no,
It
and
doesn't
that
sound like love to me.
no, and that character you mentioned was so self righteous. He
Right.
believed he knew God, and others didn't. People
Right.
had to come to him to
Right.
know God, and in that state of purgatory, to me
Mhm.
that had to be broken down. That was like the husk that had to be broken through. And if you remember, Faye, one of the laws, I forget which one, that said, um, "Oh, in let me pick it up. In heaven, the emperor wears no clothes."
Right.
So in this case, he, without giving too much
It's
away,
number
he
9
was
number 9,
number
actually.
nine.
Yeah.
Yeah, uh, he, he was the bishop, and he knew best. But in when one goes through that life review, it's what you have done to others that
Right.
determines your place in heaven, not who you
Yes.
think you are.
Right. what you have done to others. And I mean, you might think that you have, I'll take me for example. I might think that I didn't hurt anybody. I wasn't judgmental. I never, hurt somebody's feelings. I didn't ignore somebody, yes, you have. You might have hurt, you might have broken someone's heart. You might have been too cruel with your words. You might have um, had bad thoughts about somebody, put out bad thoughts like I wish you were DEAD. No, when you say things
Yeah,
like,
yeah, 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 yeah,
you know,
yeah.
I mean, how is that going to run when, you might not even realize, hey, those are really horrible things you've done, Faye. So you better, I mean, you've done some good things, but
Mm.
maybe in review, you might be surprised
Mm.
when after thinking that you are a regular nice person and you might not be so nice, in some
Yes,
ways.
yeah. Interesting, Faye. I'm certain that the the key to those events is intent. So if I
Mhm.
intend to hurt you in some way, that's an event
Yeah.
which you would not suffer the consequences. I might have hurt you in some way in this life, but in
Mhm.
the afterlife, that intention is mine to bear. Well,
Uh,
that, if
I
I've made
gotcha.
sense of that, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So if I do something out of perhaps ignorance or I didn't mean that, I'm sorry,
Right.
but it's where I have the intention to do harm.
True. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
is
I shouldn't worry too much. Is that what you're saying to me?
oh,
Maybe.
I wouldn't worry at all. You're a wonderful, beautiful being.
I'll go with that. Maybe I need to have Rogers say, okay, well, there are sometimes,
Sometimes,
yeah. Oh, so I'm going to see if there's some folks have any question. Yeah, I think there's some agreement to what I said, judgmental for somebody else. You don't have to judge someone else for, okay, I'm not quite sure I follow this one, but I mean,
yeah,
um,
yeah. I'm not seeing those chats
oh,
here,
you're
Faye.
not.
So no.
Okay, so here's another question, and I don't mean to skip anybody. I just,
Oh, here we
I'll
go.
come back to you. She says, what
Tanya's
about
come
how,
up.
yeah, Tanya says, what about how we treat ourselves? Did Stephen experience that yes, there was one of them. Did Stephen experience that our review not only considers how we treated others, but also how we treated ourselves?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. I think that's very true, Tanya. I mean, we one of I think law number 4, Faye. It says we
Hmm.
are all one in spirit.
Hmm.
What you have done to another, you do to yourself.
Right.
So that is such a profound uh, uh, law that enables us. So if I know if I do things with intent to you, I would bear the consequences of that harm I've caused you because we are one in spirit. So if
And
that
also,
doesn't dissuade me from doing something bad, I'm not sure. Not sure it will. But just to answer Tanya's
yep.
point, and getting back to this, what we were taught as children, so often through our various religions, we are taught that we are sinners and we're bad.
Hmm. Yeah. Oh, there. Yeah.
And you tell it to a child often enough, and it becomes a rut in their psyche. Oh, I'm a bad person.
Hmm.
What it what it misses is that we are divine beings. We are a spiritual being inhabiting a physical
Right.
manifestation,
Right.
and we are a divine spark of God in His angelic hosts, a teardrop from His eyes. So,
Yeah. I love
and
that.
it's a recognition of that divinity, that love that we are is a crucible for many things. It's a recognition of who we are in the divine scheme of things.
Well, we're loved by it. Look at who we are loved by, as depicted in your book. We are so loved here on earth.
Never,
And
it was that was so evident, Faye. We were never absent that divine hand. Even, do you remember? Again, we might give too much away. Uh, when Athar is stuck in that purgatorial state, he he'd taken his own life in life,
Right.
and then he was stuck by
He
virtue
was
of
stuck.
the shame and the guilt and the anger that he felt.
Right.
But there was a light he couldn't
Right.
see originally, and that light was a spark of the Heavenly Father. And
Right.
it was the forgiveness that he was able to uh, 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 let go of, forgive those that had done him harm.
Right.
Then he saw that light, and that was a great enabler. That light was the Father,
Right.
that spark of love that was always there, never absent, but he just couldn't see it.
Couldn't see it. And I think that was I was going for that as well as forgiving others and forgiving yourself. And I found it interesting. Let me just read a couple things. Herbie, I'm not quite sure I follow you, honey, but here's what he says. You don't have to be judgmental for someone to think you are, so it is perception of what you say to people.
Mm.
Okay. I'm 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 hoping I'm trying to reach for that one,
Yeah,
but
I.
it
Mm,
I'm not quite sure I'm catching it. Mary Erickson says, I have believed for years, Faye, that organized religions are full of fear. Fear. Remember, fear doesn't do us any good. Fear and greed never understood why God or one creator would hurt those she would be so mean. None of the indigenous beliefs. Okay, so yeah, the indigenous folks, Mary can speak well of, my husband can speak well of as well. I mean, it's the creator loves. Why would God or one creator hurt anybody or be mean? It's not, God is not giving you wrath. You are having a life experience, I believe. I mean,
mhm,
there's,
I would agree with that.
yeah,
There, what I felt through the entirety of the book, Faye, was the the love that surrounds us all, and we can think ourselves separate from that, but in really we are not. Uh, um, we need to tap in to that love that's there, to
yeah,
listen to, as we said before, to ask the question, what do I do? How do I fix? Where do I go? And they're great enablers because we're tapping then in to the source of that inspiration, that love that is there for us on a continual basis.
it's on a continual basis. Um, I, l- I wanted just to tap into that silver cord,
Ah,
that link.
that's interesting, isn't
Can
it?
we? Can we? Yeah. I mean, can we? I mean, and then it pulls at you when you're in heaven, and then you
Okay.
get. Can you? We are connected, and we can choose to be connected to our past. Our like my father. I guess I channeled him, and that silver cord made
Hmm.
me go, you know, to heaven with that question. How can I address this situation with my child?
Hmm.
And then I must have been given some good counsel, and I was able to words came out f- not from me, I didn't feel, but from my experience, or my dad was helping me, so I feel like that was that silver cord, that I tossed up.
Yes, yes,
Is that, am I right?
and that's exactly what it is. And the silver cord is love. It's a bond of love to a kin. So for those that we love
Hmm.
across the veil, that bond is eternal. So and uh, and it's also and you remember the part, Faye, called the abode of reunion.
A boat of
Ah,
reunion.
abode of reunion.
Okay.
Ah, let let me describe for your listeners
Oh, thank you.
again
Okay, go.
what I saw.
Right.
So on this uh, expansive dale, grassy dale, beautiful trees and things. There's all this. There's a crowd like of souls. Again, this is in heaven, not on earth. This is in heaven, all in heaven. And I'm standing with this master guide on top of a hill. and watching this. And there, to the side of the dale was the mist, the beautiful mist of, that we pass through. And there were all these silver cords streaming over the top, not through the mist, over the top of the mist. And they were connected to some of these souls, these beings on this dale.
Okay. Yeah.
And I turned to the guy and said, like, what
What's
is
this?
this?
Yeah.
And it was explained that this is where souls, when we sleep,
Hmm.
when we're in the depths of sleep,
Okay. Hmm.
we are able to transit across the veil. We're connected still to the physical form by the silver cord. When the silver cord is broken, then we can't go back. That's when we pass over for good.
Oh, we pass over. Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah, that's right.
Oh, okay.
Uh, and the silver cord extends, so that soul is asleep, and they are able to come to this area where they meet up with kin or guardians to uh, get wizened up, if I can use the term. Help, you get help
Hmm.
with some dilemma that we face in life. So when the body wakes up, that soul then transits back into the physical form, hopefully in remembrance of the knowledge that we have gained in the
Right.
learning process. And for me, that is when, sometimes when we're in tune, we go to bed with a problem, we
Right.
go, oh my goodness, what am I going to do about that?
Mhm.
And we wake up in the middle of the night or in the morning and go, oh, I've got it. I know. I know the answer.
Right.
That's where
Right.
we've been. We've
That's right.
been we've been given that counsel and had the
Hmm.
capacity to remember.
Yeah, that happens too. It's like when
Mm.
you're relaxed and you're in
Mm-hmm.
another realm, the dream state. Yes, you are
Mm-hmm.
you're close
Yes,
to that.
same thing. The conscious mind in that sleep process, I understand it, is when the conscious mind is shut down. We haven't got the
Right.
monkey mind going to and fro.
Right.
We're
Right.
open,
Right.
so we're open to receive, but we have to tune in.
Right.
Like to me, it's tuning into that loving kin. So it might be a guardian angel or a parent who's passed that we love, and
Right.
say, "Mum, what do I do?" Oh,
Right.
and
Yes.
then be open to that intuitive sense that we get
Right.
when we've awakened. That's
Yeah.
when that notebook comes in handy. You write it down so we
I
don't
know.
forget.
Keep that notebook next to you and by your
Yeah,
bedside, right?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
absolutely.
I have just most recently wrote down in a book my little dream book, not a dream book, it's just like a log, and was really perplexed by the problem. And I said, I can't fix this, and it's kind of breaking my heart. What the hell? I said, oh, what the hell? In my book. And the next day, um, I woke up, it was, and and the answer just came to me. And so I think, I don't know who helped me. I feel like it was maybe an angel, or two. I do have a guardian angel. I found out it is actually Uriel, by the way.
Is that right? Oh, how
Yeah,
amazing is that?
I know. I'm involved in some cleanse. I do this cleansing angel clearing. I was involved in, and she helped me. She's also psychic, and she helped me. I didn't know anything about this particular archangel, and she said, this has never happened to me before. She's an angel um, channeler.
Hmm.
And she said, Uriel came and he is part of you. He's standing
Oh,
right
how
there. And I
amazing.
go, okay. I mean, I'm
Wow.
not, again, so I am,
How cool is that?
it is so cool. And so when I was reading your book, chills came to me as I was reading about what's one was person was experiencing. It was kind
Amazing.
of a profound. It was like during the same time this all was happening to me. I want to
Yeah.
say hi to Jonathan. I want to say hi to Julie. I'm glad you joined us. Thank you for popping in. I'm talking to Stephen Chung, author of The Afterlife: A Journey To. and we're having a fantastic discussion about his book, some of the powerful lessons that came out of the book, which are really great tools. I would be happy if anybody is interested. I've already posted the link to acquire this, and you can also um, tap into his website. I wonder if I have that. I think I do. I kind of did that. Um, oh, here we go. Stephen's website, right?
Yep.
If they go there, they can get a free download of
Yeah, they can download those laws of heaven and earth.
Lowe's of
They're
He-
they're just there for free.
there.
And but if they've got any questions, just there's a one of those email linky things,
Mhm.
um, and they can just drop me an email, and happy to do my best to respond.
Well, I appreciate that you were very responsive to my question and very generous in saying yes to be part of the show. Um, and we're almost through, actually. I mean, we have about 10 minutes left. I don't want to, we've been talking a long time. I mean, but it's
It's all
been
good,
going by,
Faye.
but it's been fun and it's been going by fast. And so, what was the other thing that kind of hit me? Um, I wish that my mother, my poor mother, not my poor mother, my mother who died about almost 30 years ago now. I was 30 years younger, and she was fighting cancer, breast cancer at the time, and she knew her days or her months were maybe limited, and she was having a combination of hospice care where they came to visit her while she was staying with my sister and her husband. And I was visiting her one day, and she said, "Do you think I'll make it to heaven?" And I thought, "Oh, my heart just sort
Uh,
of,
Breaks open. Yeah,
broke." I said, "Mother, why wouldn't you think you would be going to heaven?" But she was used to all this, judgmental, kind of fear, um,
fear.
based religion thing. And I said, "I have no doubt that you have no reason to fear that you will be
Absolutely.
one of, their favorite people."
Yep.
Um, and so I'm glad that she asked me that question. I don't know why she decided it was me, the youngest, that wasn't really always the wisest. But I'm but she seemed to ask me some kind of crazy questions, and that was one of them. Bye, honey. My
Yeah.
husband isn't
I
even in the office. Isn't that sad? But I'm glad I was able to say, I don't know where it came from, but I just had no doubt she would go to
no.
heaven.
Yeah, absolutely. There's that's one of the laws, Faye. Number. Let me see. I've got it here somewhere. Number 11. Fear at the time of passing closes the soul to all the awaiting love and compassion.
Oh,
That
that's kind
kind
of
of
sad.
explains it, doesn't it? So yeah, lose that fear. Um, yeah,
Yeah.
the love that awaits us on the other side is totally encompassing. One of the great profound things, Faye, not one of the many, but one of the most profound for me is I now have no fear of the passing process. It's almost one of anticipation rather than dread. You know,
Mhm.
I continued on the odd occasional trip over my size 12s,
Mhm.
but in the knowledge that the love that awaits us on the other side is deeply profound,
I know.
and it is not to be feared.
And so you were your own mother who passed, right? And so you were able to tell her to definitely you're going to heaven, or that did she, and she must have read your book as well. And
Oh, she knew. She required
yeah,
no telling. She was an angel with wings, and
yes,
she is, she assisted so
many.
many people. So if I have the opportunity to venture to the higher realms where I know she's resides, then I'll be a lucky boy. She'd probably have to come down to meet me.
Does your wife think you're a better man because of the book? That just came to
Oh,
me.
My goodness, you'll have to ask. I'll ask her that. Uh,
Get her in there. Have
oh,
you improved?
she's on the Gold Coast at the minute, so
Oh,
I can't
okay.
ask her.
Oh,
But
well, what do you think?
I'll text you an answer after I've
Okay,
asked the question.
that was a question. If I'm putting you on the spot, but as I told you before, my own husband's experience as a near-death experience, he will tell me that he was a different man before it. And I know you didn't have a near-death experience, but I mean, it's very close to one, I think. Your vision
Mm,
was profound. It changed him profoundly. I didn't know him. I knew him in high school. We went our separate lives. We came back together at a class reunion. I felt smitten by him, and
mm,
apparently he had a crush on me all those years. And so, but what happened to him is that during the time we were apart, he had a near-death experience, and he came back as a psychic medium and was a working psychic medium, and he still is. And um, what I've learned from him and what I see, what made me attracted to him, not attracted to him in high school, but attracted to him then and now,
mm,
was his deep appreciation of others and
mm,
his deep appreciation and gratitude
mm.
for the love that he felt and then came back to earth, and that's what he wants to, bring to everyone else. And
Beautiful. Mm.
I hope that other people who watch our shows see that, but that was the attraction to me. Besides,
Yes.
I thought he was cute, but he's gone
Okay.
now. I can talk
So,
about him.
so as you're talking, Faye, I'm composing a text to my wife. Dear,
Oh,
am I still cute? How's that?
I think it's important
Absolutely.
to have think your wife will think it's
Or is grey hair cute? How's
yeah.
that?
That would be good. I want to know what her answer is. Okay, please follow up with that, will you please?
Oh, beautiful.
So, is there another book in the works?
Oh, Faye, that's a very uh, opportune question.
I thought
I,
so.
I, well, so I wrote the, the Afterlife in 2019-20, and since then, like, once they've been closed up, but I'm kind of going, where's the next one? I don't, I'm kind of tuning in and not hearing anything,
Uh-huh.
if that makes sense.
Sure.
About a week ago, the channels opened up and I started again.
I
So,
just got chills in the back of my neck. That's
so
awesome.
chapter two was finished yesterday. So the
Okay.
same process, and I no idea no idea what I'm writing.
Okay.
I tune in, and it's there. It's just
That's
there. So,
wonderful.
and it's a continuation. A Thar is taking me to different areas and explaining so far more in depth of what he sees.
So, so in the experience of heaven, there are several layers of heaven, I guess, and some are privileged to go to many levels, I suppose. And I know I'm just bombarding you with all this, but so some become guides themselves, some become angels themselves. I mean,
Yes.
your book kind of talks about, um, school, I mean, the beautiful buildings that
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
talk about the experience in each of these buildings. One of them was where some of them were getting help and healing, and then there's others that were of education, and some were of children.
Oh, that was
Those
a beautiful
lovely
one, Faye.
beings. Oh,
Oh,
I
that
mean,
that
if you
that
want to
one
talk
there,
about that.
that school of children. We're talking about feelings before. Even now, I get chills when I think back to that experience. I walked with a guide, saw this magnificent building, and don't think like glass edifice. Think Greco-Romano marble alabaster type. buildings.
Okay.
So we walk into this building, and the love that I felt as I walked through the door was, again, I even feel it now. It was like a warm blanket on a cold night. You're wrapped in this love that abounded in this place. And
Mhm.
so we walked into the building, and there's all these rooms, separate rooms. And in the rooms were these babes in arms and beautiful angelic beings attending to these child souls.
Yeah.
And I've turned to the guy and said, look, again, what
What
is
happened?
this?
Yeah.
And it was explained to me that when a child leaves the earth realm early, they are so beautifully nurtured by the Heavenly Father and the angelic hosts.
Mhm.
None are left behind. And they are brought to the prime of their spiritual well-being. So they are wrapped in this, like it was a school. I call it the school for children,
Mm.
because these children, these souls that have left the earth plane early, are
Mhm.
so beautifully nurtured by the Heavenly Father. Even if the bond between the parent and the child is fractious,
Yep.
that that child soul, is so loved in the heavenly realms. None are left behind. So my deep understanding is, and God forbid that one has the experience in life where you lose a child, that would be devastating. But to know that that soul is
It's
so
being
beautifully nurtured in the arms of
and taken care of.
the angelic host. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That is beautiful. That's absolutely beautiful. I have Tanya says, "Thank you, Stephen. I already added your book to my Amazon shopping cart."
Thank you.
And she said, "Oops, not a question." And she says she's excited to know that you are writing another book. So,
Yeah, it was. Must say, I was beginning. I got to a stage where I was beginning to doubt my own self and thinking, "How come I can't see or feel? I've tuned the dial. I'm listening, but I heard nothing. But
mhm.
it just come. Yeah, like even
Just a
last week,
couple weeks.
and just got it. Oh, I get it. Oh, I forgot.
That is so cool.
Cool, huh?
It is so cool, and that you're tuned in. And you're
Yeah.
but you're not a psychic medium. You don't you don't label or whatever, call yourself one. You are
No.
simply someone who is
Well,
connected somehow to
yeah.
this character.
I think that's a great description, Faye. Um, but what I know, as we were talking before, is this book and the lessons and learnings from it, they are not telling us anything. They are enabling everything. It's a big difference. It's bringing out what's inside. So we don't have to pontificate and say, oh, this is the way or this is how to do it.
Mhm.
It's the recognition within ourselves that, oh, my goodness, I got that. You know, here it was all the time I didn't see it.
Mhm.
That's the beauty of, to me, of the things that we learn from the gifts that we were given.
I just want to say thank you for being with me today, and thank you for folks for joining in on the discussion and joining me. And I am thrilled that maybe at least one or two might be watching and getting your book. And I want to. I shared this card with you before, Stephen. I want to share this card with everybody else, and it's the card, this angelic card that I pulled, and it says curiosity. See life through the curious eyes of a child, and you will discover a never ending source of happiness and excitement. Curiosity keeps you alive, interested, and interesting. The angels are inviting you to be curious about yourself. Start exploring who you are, and you will grow personally and spiritually. Be interested in people, and you will discover an internal source of fascination. Be curious about the wonderful universe in which you live, about the angels themselves and their role in the divine plan. The radiance of your delight in life will illuminate you. the affirmation is, I explore the wonder of life. And I feel it was a fitting card to pull before
It
speaking with
was.
you, having you on. And I am so delighted you have been here. And I hope you join me again sometime on my show and we can talk about your next book, if you will. I just love this discussion. I don't know what your book is. You don't know what your book is either, but it's
I have no title at this stage, Faye.
more
No,
journey,
I'll
more
just call
journeys.
on my PC. I've just called it Next,
Okay.
but that won't be the title.
Okay. Well,
Thank you, Faye. It's been a pleasure.
I'm going to say goodbye to everyone. God bless everyone. Stay curious. Love you all.